Well, hello, my tiki-talkies. Can you believe we are finally on the last little bit of the Peacock Sessions? I cannot. I'm going to just hide the text and that so you can see it in all of its fullness. So if you are new to the Peacock Sessions, well, there's not a whole lot to know other than I'm going to be finishing this art piece today, and I am very excited about it. The replays will be over on YouTube once I'm done, and I had to order a few, geez Louise, I had to order some more of this color, which is called Atlantis, which is an artistic isle watercolor. And I'm trying to get this gold leaf out of here in order to finish the little eyes of the peacock feathers. And so I did get it in, but I've been so busy with end of school year stuff with the kids that I have not had a chance to really get in here and think about how I was going to finish it. And so now I had the moment and figured that I would get in here and do this. So I'm going to leave some of these greens the way that they are because I like them, but I am going to go in here with Atlantis and really just brighten these bad boys up because they just are so pretty with this. And for the Peacock Sessions, I'm not really doing like a talk through, so if I'm not super chatty, that would be why. I'll explain a little as I go. I'm not paying a ton of attention to the chat because this is really just more for a process video that I promised that I would make, but I didn't have enough room on my phone, and so I figured this would be a good way to get it recorded live and have the replays. All right. All right, so I think that gets just about all of the peacock eyes that I needed to fill in with this color tone. Some of this has a little too much water in it, so I'm just going to lift it and then go back in with a thicker application. And then I'm going to let it dry and then go in with a little bit more over the top. Okay, so now that those are done, what I'm going to start focusing on is the background, because that's really what's going to start pulling all of this together. So the background of the inspiration picture is essentially just kind of all the quills coming together and all of that. What I find interesting is that all the little hairs on it are like this green sort of color. And so I think what I'll do is bring in that green using kind of going back and forth between the idea of perylene green and sap green. Hi, Cece's mom. I am. Sounds good. I wish I had a banana. Our bananas are gone because we ate them all, and I haven't been back to the store yet. So I'm thinking what we'll do is bring in some of this perylene green because it's kind of a bluey green. Thank you. This is the last of the Peacock Session. Can you believe it? We're about to get all fancy and special up in here. I'm so excited. So let's see here. So we're going to bring some of those feathery things up and around. I don't know what they're called, but they are more of this green tone. And then I see some kind of lighter green tones. I almost see a little bit of yellow around here as well. So I'm going to switch this brush out for my liner brush, which is over here. And we're just going to go from there. So I'm going to move this actually over here and put this over here. Gotta move some of my stuff from this morning, apparently. Oh, I cannot wait to do the tape pull on this one. All right. So what I'm gonna do is start by grabbing some of this perylene green, and I've got my inspiration picture up on my computer. The replay for the Peacock Sessions will be over on YouTube when all is said and done. They're free to watch, so don't worry about not seeing the inspiration photo for the peacock right now. They will be in others. But so essentially what I want to do is start by actually bringing in the actual peacock, I guess you would call these feathers. You can see they kind of just go up like this. Are your kids done with school? Mine finished Friday. No, they're not. They still have 2 more days. And it has been such a busy last couple of weeks that I am just so done. I am ready to be just done. Is that creepy enough? Did I say it creepily enough? Last weekend was such a busy weekend. I am just worn out and tired. I feel like on my live this morning I was very lackluster. I'm used to being lackluster on like the Peacock Sessions just because I'm more concentrated, because it is such a, you know, more in-depth tutorial. When I'm working on something like this, I'm not typically very talkative. However, this morning I feel like I was just there. I'm just so tired. All right, so I'm gonna use these greens as well to help bring in some of that more, those vibrant green tones as well that kind of sit more towards the base of this. It might not show up that well, we'll see. But I think anything is better than nothing. And I think it's going to be kind of the combination of all of it pulling together that's going to make it look super good. It was a mess for us too. Now we have the million doctor appointments. Yeah. I'm like, you know, if I could just have like a couple weeks where the kids are home from school and like there's nothing scheduled, I think I'd be golden, really. That would be amazing. That would be ideal. And then the kids wouldn't fight. Is that asking too much? I think it might be. I was joking yesterday, though, that, oh, Beezy's here. My mom wants that painting. I hope your mom knows how to pay up. This painting ain't gonna be cheap, fool. That's why I only have one. Gosh, you know, my kids were actually really good over spring break, to where like I actually didn't really want them to go back to school. Add about 600 to that, maybe 7. We'll see. According to Perplexity, it's supposed to be in the upwards of, you know, that range. I'm letting all the AIs determine how much I charge for these because I don't know what's fair. So, Lord, mine is always trying to convince me to do homeschooling. I'm not doing that crap. How much was the hummingbird? You guys ready for this? Okay. Hummingbird was, dang it, my phone's right there. Okay, so the hummingbird was $5.75. The oil painting was $240 or $245. But because she bought them together, I decided to give her what I would call a founding collector's discount. And I let her purchase them both for $500 versus the $800 and some it was supposed to be. But that is what all the AIs combined, the Perplexity, the Claude, and the ChatGPT, that was that is what they said that I should be charging for those pieces. And what I did in order to figure out what I should be charging for them was I took a picture of them, I plugged them in, I told them what I used specifically on them, like what the paper was, what the size was, approximately how much time went into it, what products like paint-wise that I used. I photographed the details of it so it could see like the intricacies of it and whatnot. And that's what it came back to tell me. So it also went into details talking about like if it's matted, if it's framed and all that stuff, if it's going in a gallery, that kind of thing. Well, yeah, it is an inventive way to price, but I looked at it this way. I've not sold my original artworks because I'm too scared to let them go. And I figured, look, if I'm going to start doing this, I need to price myself in a way that I don't want to kick myself for being like, man, I let that go for so much less than I should have. And I don't want to overprice myself and buy my strawberries. And your strawberries looked great though, BZ. I don't want to overprice myself and people be like, screw that, that's not worth it. Which, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people that are on both sides of that equation, no matter what I price it at. I've been an artist long enough and I've been selling my crap long enough to know that I could charge $10 for beautiful clay earrings and people will still say it's too much. Okay. So I figured because I am not in the fine art space, but I know just how much I have spent my life working on this stuff, I am going to refer to all of the, I don't want to call them experts, but they can do the research in what like the average amount for fine art originals are. Like, for example, I'm not about to sell like, you guys know the normal, you know, this sort of, do I have it over here? Like this. One of these normal things that I do on like cheesy, like cheap paper and all that stuff. I'm not about ready to sell this for $500. That's just not a thing. But something like this, where I spend multiple sessions over the course of 10 plus hours, I'm using all of my professional tools and materials, and it's incredibly detailed. And this is stuff that I've learned to do over decades and have perfected. Yeah, I'm going to charge a pretty penny for it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. One animal on a canvas or panel, 8 by 10, 100, 9 by 12, 150, 11 by 14, 200, 16 by 20, 250, 18 by 24, 300, 24 by 36, 375. So, hey, you know what? Yeah, and if they're paying, they're paying. Now, I'll tell you this. because I have my browser pulled up, I can actually go into, I think, let me pull this one up. Am I logged in over here? Here. This is the Peacock Sessions. I can tell you what it told me in ChatGPT. So I uploaded all the times that I had for the first 7 sessions. It totaled 8 hours and 28 minutes. And I said, okay, now perfect given that and the current amount of detail, so nothing beyond this, how much should I charge? I said, okay, now given that this piece of art is, let's say, an 8x10 on Arches watercolor paper, which is the highest quality watercolor paper, and using only professional tools and products, how much would this mixed media piece sell for or be worth if I were to put the original for sale? It's not finished yet, so it will likely go above 10 hours of work, but here is what it's looking like as of now, and it will be much more detailed when I'm finished. So then it gives me like this whole breakdown, and like this is not a quick floral sketch, a print, blah, blah, blah. This has original composition, layered renderings, metallic line work, so it always has to give you like the whole thing. I would probably list the original between $675 to $950 unframed, or $950 to $1,400 framed and professionally photographed. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable charging that kind of money for it. So I would definitely lower it from that point. Then I said, so I explained the process of what I did with it, essentially. And then it says, with that additional context, I would raise my valuation range substantially because this is no longer watercolor with embellishment. What you are describing is a highly labor-intensive archival mixed media process with custom pigment work, layered translucency, dimensional line application, and specialty finishing techniques. That matters enormously in fine art pricing. You are essentially creating watercolor, because I did create my own watercolor for this, acrylic relief work, which is what all this raised stuff is, metallic glazing, layered transparent optical effects, which is what all of this is, custom color formulation, illustrative detailing, decorative fine art, all in a single original piece. And importantly, your process is distinctive. And then it goes through this whole thing talking about all the different things that I worked on. It says, current estimated value range, direct to collector, social media audience, $650 to $1,200. But the strong artist branding plus the polished photography and storytelling would be $1,200 to $2,000. Boutique gallery environment, $1,500 to $3,000, depending on final refinement, framing, artist statement, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes in talking about the style with jewel tones and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you get the idea. So it says, and honestly, if this final piece lands the way I think it will, once the metallic blues and shadow highlight works are done, I would not list it below $850 to $1,200 minimum, unless your explicit goal is quick turnover rather than long-term collector positioning. So that being said, take that with what you will, because I'm not somebody who's going to know how to charge something like this. I've never sold an original like this before. This is probably the most detailed painting I've done in a long time. And, I want to make sure that it looks good and people are happy with it. But at the same time, like, I don't know how to charge for this. So leave it up to the thing that, can tell me how to charge for it, because that's going to give me a much better idea than me just trying to pull it out of thin air, I mean, of course, who wouldn't love to know that their work sold for $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that, That is the best you're gonna get. I know. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity to tell me what apparently I'm supposed to charge for these, because otherwise I'm not gonna know. But yeah. Bro, the breakdown is so complete. Competitive for now. Next year we go to gallery pricings. Yeah. Well, I'm going to put it through that again, because it's like it saves the chat. So when I'm finished with it, going to take a picture of it and all the details and put it through again, because that was just based on what it looks like here. It doesn't show all the background work I'm going to be doing here today. $5 for you to color a bird. You should be paying me to look at it. Beezy, I love you. I love that so much. But you know what? Seriously, there are people at art markets that will tell you that, or basically act like that, because they're assholes. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, whatever, dude. Whatever. I remember I had this one art market I did, and I don't get offended easily, but like, I think just the audacity of this person just really rubbed me the wrong way. And I was selling some of my wood-turned pens. Now, yeah, I think artists should definitely do art markets because it definitely gives you some valuable experience and whatnot. So I did this art market, and so I had art markets that I would do like regularly, and then this one was like an off-the-cuff one where they were looking for artists, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll apply for this one and just see, because they needed to finish filling their booths or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I apply for it, I get into it, and when I get there, I realize this is not my clientele at all, not even close. And so I get there and I'm selling these, you know, a lot of my wood turned items, because I turn a lot of things on a lathe. And actually, here's one thing I turned. I know this one's like not a big deal, but just to show you, this is a pen. You see how pretty that is? This one's not wood, this is resin. But I turned it on my lathe. I put it together with the hardware and all that stuff. I polished it to frickin' perfection. And, you know what's funny about that, BZ? I actually did do some wine corks, and one of them did accidentally look like that. Oops. And so this guy came up. Actually, where is my other? Do I have my other? I wanted to show you my other pen. I showed it on a live the other day, but it's a beautiful burl wood. It's like a box elder burl or something like that. And it's like an exotic wood. So it's like rare. And here it is. And wait, I got one more. No, I can't just not keep my own, keep my own pens apparently. So, okay. This is one that I kept for myself, but it's not that great. I don't really care about it. But this one is like my favorite. I kept this one for myself. So these are all exotic woods. You can't just go buy these at Home Depot. And so I buy these as blocks. They usually range between $10 and $20 a piece. Okay, just for one block. Comes as a chunk. And then what I have to do is measure them, cut them in half, drill the hole down the center, then put them on my mandrel on my lathe, and then, you know, actually turn it to the shape that I want, and then go through this whole sanding process, and then this whole shining process, this whole finishing process. This is actually finished with what's called CA glue, which is just a fancy word for super glue, and then super duper buffed and shined to perfection so that it keeps your fingers, greases and oils and any acids away from the wood. And it's just beautiful. And then you have a pen press that you press all of this together with at the end. So just the cost alone to make this is, you know, at least, let's say $25. I was charging $50 for these pens. And the guy walks up and he says, "Must be some special pen to be $50. And I'm like, dude, I was so mad. And I was just like, yeah, these take me a long time to make and they're exotic wood. And so I just was like, couldn't let him get to me, but he definitely got to me. I want some dark wood as a dip pen or a fountain pen to do some urban sketching. Yeah, that would be cool. I do have a self-inking fountain pen that I turned. It's kind of feminine. I think it's in my garage still. It's kind of feminine and a little messy, so I probably wouldn't do that one again. I think I broke this one. I can't remember why this one's in here. Usually if I chip something or I don't like something about something I've turned, I just put it in my stash of stuff. So that's probably what this is. I don't know. I don't remember what kind of wood this was either, but it's not that interesting. But this other one, the burl, was just so beautiful. Ugh, the knots in that wood. Yep, they're handmade out of tears of a sandworm from Arrakis. If by Arrakis you mean my ass. So yeah, that was probably the one experience of all the art markets I've done over the years. That was the one thing that I remember that just burned me the most. You know, we all remember that one thing, and that was my one thing. Let's see. I think a lot of these peacock feathers just kind of go off and over. They're not like big and stringy like this, but I can't really tell. So we're just going to go with what we can, and I'm just going to make them a little lighter around the eyes here of the peacock feathers and see where we get. And of course, I never wanted to do it all more after that. I was like, how dare you just like walk up to someone's table just to insult the things that they've worked hard on to bring to sell. Because it wasn't like he was there to just look. Like he was with one of his other drinking buddies, and you know, you knew that they were just like, they weren't there to buy anything. It was at a bar, but it was at like a nice bar that like has this really nice outdoor area and all that stuff. And so it was sort of like supposed to be this festival, but these guys were clearly just there for drinking, and like you could tell they were just kind of eyeing stuff and maybe waiting for a table or something, and then decided to just come over and be jerks. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, you don't need, you could just say nothing. Like you could just move along. I think he said like, oh, it's got to be some special pen to cost 50. Does it do magic? Or maybe it does magic, or, you know, just something like that. And I'm just like, fuck you. I actually did post him here on my TikTok at one point, calling him an asshat. And then I realized that wasn't who I wanted to be on the internet, because I had never posted like that before, but I was so miffed about it. But I ended up deleting it. You know, sometimes we all do things when we're angry that we're not proud of, and smearing people on the internet is not who I want to be or who I am, so. Yup. There we go. I think I still need a couple more over here though. Actually, I think that probably should have gone the other way. I don't know. I don't know. There we go. And then this guy here. There. All right. There we go. Oh, hi, Eleanor Rigby LSA. Thank you for the gifts. You're so sweet. I always appreciate the gifts. I don't know why I started on this side, because I typically always work left to right. So I don't know what I was thinking. I need to go back over to working left to right. All right, I'm just gonna look at this reference picture over here again, just to make sure everything's looking good. Okay, short. All right, we're looking good. So a lot of these, I think they're called quills, just kind of sticking out. I don't really know that they have a rhyme or reason other than just sticking out. So I'm just going to kind of do a few at a time so I don't get too carried away and then it end up kind of not looking the way that it should. So one thing I'm noticing about just above these feathers, the eyes of the feathers, is that they almost have like these short little feathers just kind of at the top that almost come to like this little mohawk point. So I'm going to make sure that I represent those well. Kind of like that. I don't even know if you can see it that well. Let me click on this and see if I can zoom in a little bit closer for you to see some more of this detail work. Nope, still not close enough, so let me do that again. I know it looks a little wonky right now. There we go. So you can see what I've done right here. So now that that's like that, I'm gonna go back over to my reference photo and just kind of see what happens above that. And I think we're just kind of going back to these darker ones. And I'm just gonna, again, kind of, they cross a bit. So I'm just gonna give that indication there of them crossing. Kind of like that. And then I'm thinking maybe bringing back in a little bit more of this green just to kind of bring in some cohesiveness to these colors. All right, so you can kind of get a peek for what that looks like. And let's see here. Let's maybe work on this one a little bit, like right here, because this one's gonna have these little fuzzies right here too. So we don't need a whole lot there, but I am gonna kind of just add some little strokes like this. Okay, let's see here. Let's go up here, I think. Just kind of adding some random of these green ones because they're mostly going to be the darker green. But I do want to show some of the lighter green colors as we go, so that it doesn't just kind of look like this dark blacky. It's not black, it's dark green. It's the perylene green, but I don't want it to read as black when you first look at it. And we're going to go in and add a lot of details to this even after. So we'll see how it goes. It's gonna come together really nicely. Let's go ahead and move to working on these over here. So first thing is I'm going to grab that sort of mid-green and bring this up here. Same with right here. Add one more down here. I kind of like crossing them just because naturally, you know, they're not gonna just not overlap. And then what I'm gonna do is grab some more water and we'll start doing, you know, these kind of little short strokes that I mentioned over here. So you can see they start kind of like, almost like these little short hairs that kind of lead up to almost this like mohawky thing. Oh my gosh, I hate when I do that. So we're just going to take this, spread it out a little bit, and there we go. And same over here. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with that same green and just add a couple of those feather thingies along here. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing here and just bring out a couple of long ones from here. And then again, going to go around here and give him his little mohawk. And just so I don't throw my thing down this time, I'm going to turn it around this way. There we go. All right, so you can see it kind of looks a little stickly and funny, but we're gonna pull it all together, don't you worry. This guy needs his little mohawk, so we're gonna paint his in. Right there. We'll send out some of these. And this guy needs his little mohawk. Okay, so I think we got green on all of the stems on this side. Sorry, you guys. I'm getting a phone call apparently. Let me reset this and turn on Do Not Disturb. There we go. All right, now let me get this zoomed back in. Sorry about the interruption. Okay, so you can start to see this kind of looks like a little mess right now. I wonder if I can show you, if I can add a picture to show you what this looks like. Image, click add, select. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, this is the inspiration image right here. So just in case you wanted to see what that looks like, you can see it here. Whoops. I'm gonna hide it, but just for those of you watching, in case you wanted to see it, I wanted to put that up there for you. And so that's what we're working with here is the inspiration. So now what I'm going to do is start filling in those darker quills or feathers or whatever they're called. And I feel like in the inspiration image, it really, to me, looks more like the quills are more kind of rectangular than kind of these flowy hair-like feathers. So I'm just kind of going around and just taking a quick peek to see, because I want to make sure I do them right. Might have just a little bit of a wiggle to them.
Okay, so you can start to see how these are starting to come to. Hi, Just Journals. How's it going, girlfriend? I'm trying to finish up my my last of the Peacock Session. So yeah, this is supposed to be the last one, and I'm looking forward to being done with it. But it's still going to be a while. So I was starting to say before I saw that Jess got on that you can start to see the quill overlapping starting to happen over the background, which looks good. But you know, can also look like a little bit of a tangled mess. And it's supposed to start to look like that to some extent. But what we're going to do after we're done kind of laying this foundation is really start to set apart from the background a lot of this that we want to draw attention to. So even though it may look like a hot mess now, it won't be a hot mess. You guys know by now. Trust the process. Or at least I think you know by now to trust the process.
Okay. So now you can see we have some quills over here. I might fill in a little bit more of this, but I want to start getting this filled in over here first. And then another thing I want to do is yawn in your face and take this and see if I can erase back a little bit of some of this. It doesn't look like I can, but that's okay. All right, so let's take some more of this. Actually, let's take a step back and go back to the screen and make the little hairs that this guy has. His little mohawk. He likes his little mohawk. All these little guys are going to have little mohawks. Okay, so you can see now we have this base of a background. It's kind of sloppy, it's kind of messy, but we're going to start to hone in some of these details now, because what we really want is for this background to really start to darken a bit and for these other details to kind of push forward. And if you want to see, if you haven't seen it already, this is the background that we're working with. And so this is the inspiration piece, and you can see that there's some areas where you can kind of see through the quills and it's lighter, and other areas that you can't really see through the quills, and some of the quills are kind of white, and then you can see some of the green feathery bits in between. So really what I'm looking to do here is to kind of just bring in, I like kind of this yellow area around here and how it gets dark around. But what I want to avoid is having kind of these sparse, feathery details here. What I want to do is really start to kind of fill in these feathery details. So now that we've got kind of these base areas around here, I really want to start focusing in on making sure that the background is good, and then bringing out the details in each one of the quills that has the eyes of the peacock feathers on them. So to do that, we've got a couple of options. What I don't want to do is introduce too much color back here. So we've already got the Paraline green back here. We could continue to build that up, or we could grab some indigo or Payne's gray to start to do that. We could also bring in some sepia, which is a nice brown tone to do that with, or even some purple like we've got up here to do that with. But I don't want that to conflict with some of the other colors that we have going. So my thoughts are to continue with the Paraline green and just kind of see where that goes. So if we just continue to kind of add these sweeping feathery tones here, not tones, but marks. Just light, thin strokes. Just kind of darkening that quill a little. You can see how that already is starting to darken things a bit in a positive way. But really, I want to focus more at the center here versus the outward. So the center of where the quills are. There we go. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. And as we start to build that up, it'll start to fill in more. You'll see how it starts to kind of come together. I'm going to continue on with some of those strokes. We've got some that come in from this side. So again, just using that same thin light stroke like that. And then this one here is going to have the same thing. So what I want to try to avoid is this green kind of going away around here, though we are going to use this these shimmers to kind of bring in some of this green. So I'm not super concerned about it, but I do want to make sure that we try to not cover that up. So I'm going to just bring this in and start bringing in those thin strokes again. And again, focusing some more just at the base of that quill, like that, and around that green, like that. So see, you can already see how that concentration is coming in right there. So again, grabbing some more green. And we'll do the same over here. So I'll start, I think I need to bring in some more right here, kind of around here. And then we'll start to bring in some of those right here. And again, I'm going to do those short strokes near the quill. And then kind of just darken the quill going down like that. Excuse me. I'm going to do just a little bit more darkening up here. Okay, now we've got this one here. All right, so you can see just how nice and thick that's coming along, and filling in quite nice. I'm quite pleased. Okay, buddy, have fun. Yes. Hey, Lenny G. It is getting feathers. I know it looks like a hot mess express right now, but I promise you it will look awesome when I am done. I'm hoping to finish this now, as in this session. We'll see. I don't know yet. I feel like I need to see it come together first before I feel like I can come up with a name for him. He's very pretty though, so I feel like something regal. Raj. Is that because of Clara's accent? Because we were just joking about that when she came home today. Like some poor person is going to show up on our doorstep being like, your daughter's making fun of my accent. And I told Colby he's going to have to answer the door in that accent and say, nope, we were raised like that. I know. I know. She's so freaking funny. We'll be oil tycoons. Okay. All right. So I think this is a good place to stop on the background and decide how we are going to bring it to life. Oh my gosh, look at me starting in now. Bring it to life to really just start bringing everything forward that we want to highlight. So I'm going to move this because I don't know that I'll need that anymore. And I think it's mostly dry. I don't know that I need to bring it in or bring in the heat gun. Let me I know I have some Q-tips somewhere. I'm gonna get a Q-tip wet and go over some of this acrylic paint that I have raised here, just to clean it up from the watercolor that's on it, because I want this to be nice and sparkly. I don't want the feathers that we just added in that dark green to hide this that we painted earlier on. And luckily it's easy to just take a Q-tip and clean it up with. Okay. Let's do another quick check. All right. There we go. Oh, the big peel. I'm gonna be back on the road soon. I hope they close at 5. It's probably still gonna be a while, probably another hour, if I had to guess. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to continue to work on this, and if and when the big peel happens, then I will post it. I'll download the replay and I'll post it tonight so you can see it. Does that sound fair? Fair enough. Okay, so we've done that. Now it's time to start bringing in the background and really start making this area look really nice. I think the last thing I'll do is bring in this raised gold again. Oh, yeah, no, you're good. The final peel of the tape, you know. It's like the cheese pull, but it's the tape pull. So, let me see. Where did I put a piece of scrap paper? Okay. So I want to start really bringing in some pizzazz around here. And I need to decide which green I'm going to use for that. So we have this one, which is called Wicklow. And we have this one called Cooler. And we have this one, which I don't think is going to be the one I go for, called Emerald Coast, because this one's more of like a blue-green and an emerald green, even though it's called Emerald Coast. So let me hit that with the dryer, and I'll show you what they look like. All right, so I may have lied. I may decide on Emerald Coast. Okay, so let me show you what I've got going on here. So I've got this base of this green here, right? It's kind of ugly right now. But what I'm going to do is bring it out with some green. And I actually do think I'm going to use this Emerald Coast here, because I think that's the one that's really going to make it shine. So let me move that. And I'm going to I wonder if I'm going to bring it in with my pen. See, I could bring it in with my brush, or I could bring it in with my calligraphy pen and get some very distinct lines, but I think I'll use my brush because I'm gonna turn this way and I'll bring you all in a little closer. Tell you what, I'm gonna bring you up and over. I know you're gonna get dizzy here for a sec. There, this way you can see a little bit easier. Because nothing on this is like super precise, and I think I like the ability to keep this looking, you know, thick and thin lines and all this. This was not a commissioned piece, but I am going to be putting it on my website as an original for sale. It is going to be freaking expensive, and yep, I'm gonna let ChatGPT tell me how much I should sell it for. And it's already told me before today that it should not be listed for anything less than $800. We shall see. I may photograph it and sell fine art prints of it, but they will not be the fine art prints that I sell right now, like I wouldn't even call them fine art prints, but you know, like the normal ones that I do here on the channel when I go live every day. You know, the ones that I do on like my cheap paper and stuff. Next year. Well, she's my sister-in-law, and I can say this because I know her. She's cheap AF. So, girlfriends, you know, she would never. But that's why she's my sister-in-law, because I can just give her my crap. Actually, I'm about to work on a piece for her, which I'm pretty excited about. So, but yeah, this one, actually I had somebody say they really loved peacocks and would love for me to do a peacock in this style, and I kind of gave it a life of its own and was gonna like record a video, and I was doing that hummingbird, but then I ran out of space on my phone, so I lost all the hummingbird footage from like the really detailed stuff. So I decided when it came time to doing the peacock, I would just go live to do it. And so I did. And that way I could have the live recordings already, you know, on TikTok and nothing would go wrong. And I could just download them and put them over on YouTube. So anybody who's going to want to follow along will be able to do that and attempt this for themselves. But good luck, because this is going to be like a 10 to 12 hour video project. So yeah, she's very frugal. I get it. He needs a rich name, Artie Gideon. I can tell you for sure it won't be Gideon, because when I was a photographer and I had a studio, my landlord's business name that I used to pay rent to was Gideon Development. Not that I have like bad memories or anything. I don't. Just I will always think of that when I hear the word Gideon, so, or the name Gideon. Anyway, but the person that asked for or for me to do something like this can't even afford the print of it, but I told her that she's welcome to try, you know, following along in the YouTube so she can create something like this for herself. And I get it, like, art is not something that everybody can necessarily afford an original for. I know I certainly can't, but I can also make it for myself if I really want to. But I'm also not in the business of spending hours and time and, well, that is time, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and do this and then just give it away unless I'm making the big bucks. I used to have an Uncle Magnus, so that's not gonna work. And Archibald is from the VeggieTales. And Sully Sullenberger. I'm gonna need you to think bigger than those names. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up so you can see what this looks like. Quincy, I like Quincy. Yeah. And so like a fine art print for something like this would probably be, you know, 120 or something like that, because it'll be printed on really nice paper. And since this will be a premium painting, you know, that's a different story. But the point is, you know, I have shown how to create this for free, and the replay will be shown for free on YouTube. So the person that wants it can absolutely try to make it themselves. And anybody else who wants to can certainly follow along and do the best they can to recreate it in their style for themselves. So I'm excited to see what people do with it. And I hope it becomes a collector's item for somebody, because, you know, that would be awesome. All right, so I just wanted to show you what that looks like with the watercolor, the emerald that I just put down. And I was just sat there and said, I'm probably not going to use emerald, yet here I am using emerald, you know what I'm saying? So that's the color I'm going to use for that, because it's amazing. And you know, one thing I could also do, I might be pushing my luck here, but I'm going to push it anyway, because this is the only way I know if I like something or not. I'm going to take a little bit of this Aloha Kai. Thanks. And I'm just going to put a little bit right here of this aqua colored Aloha Kai with this gold, just kind of at the base, because I want to see how that interacts with the Emerald Coast, or yeah, is that Emerald Coast? Yeah. Because that might be something that we could kind of line around it, and it adds some dimension. Let's see. I don't really notice the difference. Not worth it. Okay, let's move on to the next. But this is why we put this green underlayment here from everything else. So let us continue. Again, using this Emerald Coast color. And I'm going to start by just kind of painting this around here. It's a really loud helicopter going overhead right now. Lindsay, what are you eating tonight, girlfriend? Since you were staying at your mom's for house sitting this week. Poor Kevin's gonna be all alone and eating Firehouse every night. He's probably also enjoying being able to have his own pillow back. Okay, shoe girl. Congratulations. I was up this morning from the birthday yesterday. I was 2:03. I was like, shut up. That's okay. That's okay. I had me a good time. You want to be $1.99 by Monday? Yeah, the cake wasn't that good. It was just, I feel like the older I get, the less I like it. I know that's like blasphemy because Publix buttercream is truly the best. But it was only okay. And there was so much of it and it was so heavy that it was like falling off the side of the cake. Like part of it just kind of like fell down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The bundt cake. Yes. I'm not making anything for dinner. Colby went somewhere. I don't know where. I just heard him tell Ellie, I'm going to the store and you can't come with me. So I think he's probably going to Aldi to get some basics. And we'll probably have leftovers because we had a lot of leftover hamburgers and hot dogs from yesterday. But I had some leftover. So instead of hot dogs, I asked him to get me like some brats. And I had a couple leftover bunless brats for lunch today. Oof. Girl. There was some toilet action going that you guys don't need to know about, but now you do. So I don't know. I know. She loves her daddy. But, you know, sometimes daddy just wants to go to the store and not be asked for everything. And she does have a habit lately of, you know, being like, oh, are you going somewhere? Let's go shopping. Even though she doesn't have any money to go shopping. But she knows she's about to get paid for her grades. So if she sees something, she can be like, Daddy, but you're about to pay me for my grades. So can't you just like give it to me now? Girl, I should, but I don't want to do anything. We used to go to Chili's every year after school to celebrate for lunch. But now we're, you know, I'm an unemployed freeloader. Although I did just sell those paintings, but I don't want to spend any of it on, you know, going out to eat. Kind of want to pay my van payment for next month. That way the husband isn't, you know, freaking out. Although I do think I'm set for the summer for the van payment because I did get some design work that I just finished up that I'll be invoicing the company for. And I got another email for some more design work from the same company that I need to see if I have the time to do. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't have the time to do it other than if they have like a certain deadline that I just can't meet. And then I just sold those paintings, so I think we'll be fine for the summertime. And hey, if I could get some UGC deals, that'd be nice. Pool party and call it dip and dips. Dip and dips. Fresh squeezed summer batch. Well, oh, Lindsay, you probably don't know this. My sinus cultures came back. And it's not the Pseudomonas, thank the Lord. However, it is Staph aureus. So now I'm on yet another long-term antibiotic. And I can't be in the sun for 6 weeks. So yeah. I feel like this happens every friggin' summer. I'm like, every summer I can't be in the sun, and the kids are getting real tired of it. I'm not tired of it because I don't mind not being in the sun. But I was actually looking forward to it this year because pretty much the kids are easy to be at the pool with because aside from Declan, they all know how to swim. So I don't have to hold 4 babies on my hips while trying to keep everyone alive, you know? And I was hoping to take them to the beach and all that stuff. So it'll just have to be like nighttime sort of stuff instead. But yeah, I agree. It's stupid. I hate it. You know what? I'm not sure I'm going to finish this today. I really thought I would only need one more. Dipping s'mores under the stars. Heck yeah, girl. Carly really wants a bikini, though. I promised her I'd get her one. She has one that she's picked out, but I told her before I order it, I need to measure her because I don't want to order the wrong size. And she keeps forgetting to remind me. So, sucks to suck. Yeah, she's going to look so cute in it. What? She's going to look so what? I was like, yeah, you can get a bikini if you want, but you can't get one that shows your butt cheeks. That's, you know, I feel like I'm pretty lenient on a lot of things. But I draw the line at showing your butt cheeks. She didn't want to show her butt cheeks, but I also am not sure she would care whether or not she showed her butt cheeks, so I had to make that known. Like your 14 child. I don't know. Even if she did, I don't think she would admit it. Yeah. Most girls were. Or at least most girls I knew. He's my Carl. But I know she's excited to start high school next year. Can't believe I already have a freaking high schooler. Crazy. And way to feel old. Because in my mind, I stopped growing at like, 20. And my maturity level stopped growing at like 12, 14 maybe, max. Okay, so I know it's gonna happen so fast. I was snuggling with her on the couch yesterday, and I said, "Are you still gonna love me when you are an adult, when you grow up and you graduate high school?" She goes, "Why are you being so needy?" I was like, "I don't know, because you're growing up, Carl." Like, all these kids are graduating. It's gonna be you soon. You're my Carl. She liked the snuggling, though. She just won't admit it. I was like, "When you grow up and you move out, are you still gonna snuggle with me?" She's like, "Probably not." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "I don't know, because it's weird." I'm like, "No, it's not. I'm your mom." She's like, "Well, you don't snuggle with your mom." I was like, "Yeah, but we were never snuggly. You and I have always been snuggly. You snuggle with me, you little tiny jerk." I am obsessed. Seriously adoring this color. My stepbrother James, his daughter just found out she's pregnant. And I'm like, wow, even she's pregnant before me. How old is she? I think she's an adult, yeah? She's not in high school. '20 or 21, yeah. They make it look so easy, don't they? Well, congratulations to her, I think. Was it an oopsie? Oh my gosh, he laughed so hard. He took it to bed with him last night. I think it's in Ellie's room still. He slept with Ellie last night. Oh, okay, gotcha. You want to hear something sad, Lindsay? You know how Clara and Ellie have always been little BFFs, right? Well, you know, they've been having issues over the last few months, and I don't know what's happening with them or what's gotten into them, but, you know, they've been having issues, whatever. So Declan wanted to sleep in Ellie's room last night, and Clara asked if she could sleep on the floor in there. You know, wouldn't hurt anybody. She's not in anybody's way. And Ellie said no. She didn't want anybody else in her room. Now, I wasn't going to force her because it is her room, and I know that if it were the other way around and Claire didn't want her in there, that, you know, that would just irritate her for me to make her allow Ellie in her room. So I just was like, okay, and I asked her to reconsider it, right? Well, she still refused. And so what was sad was that in the middle of the night, Clara came and got in bed with me. She snuggled with me. When I say me, I mean me and Colby, but she always steals my pillow and snuggles up against me because I have two pillows. And anyway, so the reason why she got in bed with me apparently is because when Colby got up to go get the kids, or the Ellie and Carly, ready for school, he found her sleeping outside of Ellie's room on the floor. Isn't that so sad? I'm like, oh, that makes me so sad. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, no wonder whatever kid got into bed with me was actually really gentle and didn't like elbow me and kick me the way Declan would. I knew it couldn't have been Declan, but he's usually the only one that actually gets in bed anymore in the middle of the night. The other kids usually don't. And you know what Ellie said when I was trying to convince her to let Clara sleep on the floor in her room? She said, well, you won't let me sleep on the floor in your room. I was like, excuse me, I'm the parent. That's different. Anyway, she's been in rare form. So, but I told Clara, I said, that room is going to be yours soon, and you can do with it whatever you want, including letting whoever you want in there. I know, she should have, but I think she was wanting to be with Bubby for his birthday, and he had his little space projector projecting on the ceiling in there, which was pretty cool. So I think she just wanted to be with them, and, you know, I was like, wow, I don't know what to think about that, but it made me real sad. It's like, you're usually the sweet one. What the crap happened? But I was like, how dare you sit there and say, you don't let me sleep on the floor in your room? It's me and Daddy's room. We're adults. You're kids. You kids have sleepovers with each other all the friggin' time in each other's rooms. Me and Daddy need our sleep. We're old. Oh, I just heard Colby's home. You know, I was just telling you about, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I was just telling you how he told her that he couldn't go with her to the store. And I said it was probably because anytime she wants to go to the store, anytime he goes to the store, she always wants to be like, let's go shopping, you know, and money that she doesn't have and all that stuff. Oh, hey, how you doing, Josh? He just got home and I overheard him telling Clara that apparently she called him, harassing him while he was at the store to get her certain things, and he refused, so she hung up on him. I'm like, that is not my Ellie. She is never like that. So, sounds like hormones to me. Ellie did that. Yeah. You know, I'm just like, oof, that's rough. Josh, how you doing, man? I saw you guys on your live this morning. I couldn't get on because I was about to start my own live, but I heard you guys got to have Gail on, as not as a guest, but you know, like in your comment section. She's super sweet. Love having Gail around. Lindsay, yes. And unfortunately, I think this is like kind of just what happens around that whole 6th grade mark, is when they start turning into these little rotten things. I don't like it. I don't like it when they go rotten like that. She's always tired too. She's always falling asleep, like basically when she gets home from school or before dinner. But, you know, she does have a very long day at school, so given that she goes so far away for school, gets up so early and she's gone all the frickin' day. Oh, I know. Well, you should buy it, because even though school is school, she gets up at 5:45 in the morning, and she doesn't get home till 4:30 in the afternoon. And then, you know, any extracurriculars or studying or anything, she's exhausted. So, and that's a big change for her from last year. So, you know, I buy it. Yeah, she is up so early because they have to catch a bus to from Mandarin to downtown. And I don't mean a city bus. I mean, you know, for a magnet school, they provide buses. And they're my husband just ripped ass. I hope you know TikTok heard that. What? I hope you know TikTok heard that. Kelly. Anyway, anyway, she has to make it to the bus in time, and there's only that location that they can get dropped off at. And so, and she's always been my sleeper. She's always needed more sleep. And so, you know, whereas Carly, she can kind of function on less sleep. She does okay with it. But Ellie, she needs so much more sleep. Whereas Carly can like catch up on the weekends and it's like not a problem for her. I don't know what I'm doing on this one apparently. But anyway, long story short, I think the transition from 5th to 6th grade has taken a lot more effort and taken a lot more out of her from an energy perspective. And, you know, the schedule is so much different. You know, she used to not have to get up until 7:15. Now she gets up at 5:45. Out the door at 6:30, like Carly. Carly sleeps in just slightly later. So, it's a lot. I know, right? Oh, I can't wait to see it. I was wondering if you were giving up on it. That's funny. Yeah, I've been really bad with, did you just hear that? Please tell me you just heard that. Did you hear it? That was, yeah. Colby Lindsay heard that on TikTok. He's trying to ignore me. Why does my husband do this? He's so gross. It's like a frickin' French horn. It was foul. It's always foul. And old, yeah. I feel like I should introduce my TikTok channel to Coolby. What do you think? I think he'd become an internet sensation. Well, he would have if he would have let me release his album earlier, you know, because it would have been popular before its time. You know what I mean? But now everybody does fart stuff, so probably wouldn't be as funny. Only 71. Lindsay, I think you left before you heard me say this, but I think maybe my TikTok channel could benefit from being introduced to Coolby. What do you think? Wait, you don't know what Coolby is? Have we not introduced you to Coolby? So what are your thoughts on watching Calvin overnight at our house? I have thoughts, but I think I would still rather watch him here. So I think I know what some of your hesitations are. And I was talking with Colby a little bit about it, and I was like, I know about the whole like house chaotic stuff, but it's only chaotic when we're having like you guys over or my parents or something, you know, because we're having a party. But like day in and day out, it's pretty quiet. Like we don't really have the kids coming over the way they used to because, you know, the boys moved away. And the other kids are just not allowed in our house. So, because they're crazy. So that's kind of my thought process, because then I don't have to pack up my CPAP and all my meds and all that stuff. And I don't know how my allergies and asthma will respond long term because there is so much Calvin dander upstairs. But I am very tempted by it. Colby was even tempted by it, and Colby was thinking about trying to snag that opportunity. I was like, screw you, it's mine. I think I'm just making this one worse, you guys. I'm gonna need you to respond, Lindsay, so that I know you're still here. The kids don't really go out because it's too hot outside. Oh yeah, you did say that about it. Well, I was thinking he would probably really like the backyard. Because it is just overnight, you know? He's so crotchety. He's like, I'm an old man. So what you're saying then is that even in your own house, Calvin is trying to tell you, don't touch me, fool. Usually does that with Kevin. Do you think his eyesight's just going and maybe he just misinterprets who you are at first until he can maybe his sniffer can catch up? Has he done that at my parents' house? Hmm. Oh, and I think Kevin mentioned something yesterday about potentially needing more Calvin sitting while you guys are away in October. Well, it's going to just be overnight. Like, I don't think one night they're going to. I mean, the kids usually keep to themselves. And I really don't think it'll be a problem for just one night. Maybe if it were longer than that, that would be an issue. But, like, chances are Carly's going to stay in her room. Ellie will probably stay in her room too. Clara will probably either be at a friend's house for a little bit or hang out on the couch. Same with Declan. But I don't think that they're going to be doing any of that. And we can just put the balls away for the time that he's there. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, he started to say something last night that sounded like he was going to ask for some doggy assistance for while you guys are on the cruise in October, but I wasn't sure. It was unclear to me because I think we got interrupted. So you were asking me about the wind earlier, by the way. I don't know if you can hear Phoebe in the background. She's barking at the wind blowing. So weird. I don't think so, but I don't know. Me and Kev sat on the back porch and talked for a little bit yesterday, just me and him. It was kind of nice. The kids were inside, doing Gamma and Pawpaw things, and Gamma was helping clean up a bit, and I was like getting real overstimulated by the noise factor. So I was like, you want to go sit on the back porch? He's like, sure. It was actually pretty nice too. It wasn't super, it was more humid than I would have liked, but the breeze kind of kept pushing the humidity away. So I was like, okay. And it was nice out. Could have used a lemonade. Went live. Yeah, we could have. We talked about karaoke. He told me about how you hate all of his karaoke playlist stuff. I told him that you and I had already discussed that. He's like, I'm getting it ready for October. I was like, sweet. Yeah, I think he might try to go for Aerosmith. That one might not be bad, though. He's not bad. It's just, people at least know that. Yeah, we were talking Aerosmith last night. He's on an Aerosmith kick right now. Yeah. He said something about that last night too, and I'm like, okay, there's one song. I don't know how you couldn't hit that note, because I swear you've hit that note before. And then just pick a different Aerosmith song. I'm like, you could do Hole in My Soul. He's like, I've never heard that one. I was like, what? So I introduced him to it. And now he's got a new song in his playlist to learn. Yeah, Journey is amazing. Journey's a great one. You're over his playlist. Do you ever do karaoke, Lindsay? I doubt it. You're too shy. That's what I thought your answer would be. Maybe if you're just good and drunk. Hey, which a cruise ship is pretty good at getting you. I would be in a cloud of my own diarrhea. That's hysterical. All right, I think I have one more of these. I wish we were coming too. I mean, I'm kind of upset that Kelly didn't invite us, even though we don't really know Kelly. Just saying. Oh, dude, I meant to tell you. First of all, two things. One, Colby asked Kevin if he got to try that fatir at the dough show that we brought the other night. And he was like, no. He's like, I'm going to give you one guess or one chance to answer that correctly. There's two potential answers, but you're only going to need one. So we were laughing about that. And then, so we brought it home and I decided it wasn't worth trying to eat the cheese. It was a cheese tortilla, basically. And so anyway, but what I did do was wait for it to get cold and then I peeled the cheese off. Well, some of the cheese was like that white. It was almost like a cottage cheese, not cottage cheese, like a Philadelphia cream cheese sort of situation. And so I kind of just, smeared off as much as I could, but I'm usually okay with a little bit of cream cheese, like in my sushi and stuff. Well, I guess I must have missed something because I kid you not, within seconds, my throat started swelling up. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about the allergy portion of my issues with milk. So I'm glad I did not just, because oh my gosh, that could have been really bad. Okay. This is what I got. I'm thinking we're going to need another session on this one because I'm already at almost 3 hours with this. And I'm not done. No, girl, I would have been even more because of all that inflammatory response. So that wouldn't have worked. Yeah, this still has a ways to go. We got stuff to do. But, what did we decide on that we liked for him? Quincy? Yeah, Quincy. Quincy's cute. So much for that final session and that final tape pull. I think what I will do, however, before I sign off, is grab some more of this. I like Quincy. I love it. And I'm going to just paint these in. I was thinking I would use the gold. I want the gold. Give me the gold. But not all of these have the gold. So they still need their respective stubbies, quills or whatever. Whiny the French groundskeeper. Oh, Quincy the French groundskeeper. Yeah, I'm liking Quincy. He sounds fancy, like he needs like a white chef's robe of some sort. Like maybe he's the one that goes and fetches the thyme from the garden in the French country. Okay, almost there. All right, I think I got them all. Nope. Missed this one. All right, I think I got them all now. Dun, 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 dun. There we go, for now. For now. He's a pretty handsome thing. All right, you guys. That time has come. Let me make you dizzy and put this back where you belong. Boop. That way you can see him in all of his glory. Yee. My mom's not getting this for Christmas. The only person getting this is the person willing to spend the money to get this. Okay, I don't. But I'm also feeling like I'm missing some purple within here. So I need to rethink some things. So much for this being the final. You know, I don't know why I put final on there like I'm somehow gonna be actually done with this, because clearly I'm not. I love this. I love this. We're getting somewhere with this, but we're not there yet, guys and gals. We're getting somewhere. All right. Well, I'm going to go get some dinner. I don't know what Colby's doing in the other room, but I'm going to eat. Lindsay, I'm going to, oh, look at this hair. I'm going to tell you what Cool Bee is all about at some point soon. And it's going to be awesome. So, I'll see you guys later. Bye.